Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is a research scientist that studies the role of innovation and multidisciplinary collaboration in tackling the global energy technology toward net zero emission. Here to elaborate on how the innovation technologies of one such change and to bring awareness and realism to the discussion of the net zero emission target into reality. So please welcome Dr. Engineer Deni Shirki Khairuddini.
Hello everyone, my name is Denny. I'm coming from National Research and Innovation Agency, also well known as BRIN. So this is a great honor for me to inviting me into this ICM Ethic conference. So today I would like to sharing about my opinion and my view regarding with this title, the role of innovation and multidisciplinary collaboration in tackling the global energy technology toward net zero emission. So what is driving the transition to net zero emission? As we know that the increasing demand for reducing fossil fuels due to the combustion emit greenhouse gases, which have an impact on environmental and also into human. And in the right figure here, it is showing that only, for example, from one steel industry, the biggest steel industry in Indonesia, Krakatau POSCO, they emit about 16 million tons of CO2 per year. But this is only forecast from one industry. And yeah, this is just in case if you are not so familiar what greenhouse gas is about. So greenhouse gas consists of CO2 and many others, actually more than 25 other gases that influence into the climate change that have impact into atmosphere, hydrosphere, biosphere, and also the human health itself. And this is to give you some more clear description about how the CO2 can be emitted by the electricity power generation. So if the source from coal, it will emit about 921 CO2 per kilowatt hour. And from coal generation, usually mixing between the coal and biomass, it lasers 707 grams CO2 per kilowatt hour. And from natural gas, 404 grams CO2 per kilowatt hour. And geothermal, about 99 grams CO2 per kilowatt hours. And for sure, for the green energy, like the wind, hydro, and the PV, emit only lesser. And this is the greenhouse emission from different sector in Indonesia. From this chart, it is clearly shown that the three main sector is the contribute more, like the energy industry or power plant, transportation, and the manufacturing itself. And this is the data that I just recently taken from the Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air. This is clearly showing that the emission of greenhouse gas from the coal power plant that located in Banten area, we call it SPLTU Suralaya, one of the biggest power plant in the Java and Bali. And this is the smallest one is coming from the PLTU or the power plant Labuan. From this figure, it is can see clearly that how much the greenhouse gas separated into our atmosphere, and for sure this will affect into our environment and also the human health. This is the data about the global average temperature change taken from the very well-known institution in here. They already have similar trends that from the revolutionary industry era until currently, it will linearly increase. This is due to the factor of the CO2 emission itself. And this is other evidence. This is just only example that's showing the Arctic, like the mountain ice in the Arctic already gone with only different only about 100 years. And this is the picture taken from by NASA from 1979 to 2003. the ice extent in the Arctic become decreased more and more. And if we still at current rate, and the world will not meet the Paris Agreement if we still like a business as usual like currently. So therefore, we need to take some action as soon as possible. Therefore, we need some collaboration among countries, among industries, among the institution, and etc. Indonesia itself targeted for the NZE at 2060. And currently in our country, we already applying the carbon tax or carbon tariff per kilogram is 30 rupiah. So you can calculate how much for the Krakatau POSCO they have to pay money to government per year for the 16 million ton CO2 that they emit. So what is the hydrogen economy? So the hydrogen economy is the adoption of green hydrogen as energy carrier to decarbonize a large variety of sectors, including transportation, energy storage, residential, and industrial. And this is considered due to it will substitute the role of oil. And what is the status of the price of the green hydrogen? Currently, the price of the green hydrogen is considered still expensive. But at the 2030, it will decline about 1.8 times. And at 2050, it will decline more about 3 times. And the electrolyzer itself also will be cheaper. This due to the renewable energy already massive, and the cost of electrolyzer for sure it's also fall until this year, make the green hydrogen as economical choice. And this is the roadmap of the net zero transition from our countries. And from here, it can be seen clearly that hydrogen will be introduced starting at 2031. And also in here, we have the nuclear will introduce starting 2041. So for the energy transition, hydrogen considered as missing link for energy transition for decarbonization. So with the objective of carbon neutrality, net zero emission, hydrogen has many benefits that make it a major asset in the energy transition. And this is just for information. Actually, hydrogen itself have many classes, or for easier, we classify in the color, or we call the rainbow of hydrogen. The green hydrogen, for sure, this is the clear one. The electricity coming from the renewable energy is utilized to produce hydrogen, which is splitting water by using electrolyzer. Meanwhile, the pink hydrogen is similar way like green hydrogen, but the source of electricity is coming from nuclear. Unfortunately, until now, in a global world, we are still using this type of the hydrogen, or also called as green hydrogen. Therefore, in order to transition into the green or pink hydrogen, we are working on the blue hydrogen, which is the CO2 is not emitted into the atmosphere, but capturing by using the CCS technology, or carbon capture storage technology. And this is the multiple hydrogen technology that considered will be applied in our countries. As you can see here, the circular black dot here, the most fit with our electric state-owned company we call as PLN, and this is also so for this one still consider using the to electrolyze the hydrogen is coming from the grid, but the CO2 we capturing. Therefore, we considering this as the blue hydrogen, and we still studying. We have the cooperation with the PLN and BRIN in order to study about the overcapacity or the electricity excess in Java line in order to potential to combine with CCS and also another potential application. For the green hydrogen, also we studying on it with PLN. And for the current status, PLN can provide the renewable power generation, however, at higher cost than coal. Yes, for sure, this is due to the green energy for at this moment still expensive. Then this is the targeted market for the hydrogen. We targeted on these three main sector, like for ammonia, iron and steel, and heavy truck and buses. So ammonia is the biggest sector in short term, both globally and Indonesia. And iron and steel, as I mentioned before, this is very CO2 intensity, very high CO2 emission. And this is for heavy truck, this is for transportation itself that can emit CO2 very huge number. And this is the wide application of hydrogen, like for power generation, road transport, shipping, aviation, industry, petrochemical refining, building, and etc. And this is how to stimulate the hydrogen deployment in the countries. Number one, like from here, the strategies and roadmap hydrogen role in the country. Fortunately, we already have that I showed you earlier. Incentive to adopt low carbon hydrogen. We are in the different form, which is carbon tax, certification standard and regulation. We are still ongoing in order to make this standard. Investment in production infrastructure and factories. We are still on planning and innovation R&D activities for technology advancement commercialization. We are still ongoing this one, both with PLN or Pertamina. And this is some option for hydrogen storage. From here, it is clear that ammonia has the biggest volumetric and gravimetric hydrogen density comparing with the others method or the other media. Okay, this is the storage of hydrogen that carry out from Brunei to Yokohama to Japan. They using the toluene gas to carrying the hydrogen. So the reaction is like this. The toluene is reacted with the hydrogen, become methyl cyclohexane, and then the MCH is separated when it come to Japan, become toluene and hydrogen again, and etc. And meanwhile, in the Malaysia itself, Petronas, which collaborate with JERA, they develop the green hydrogen by using the RE source from hydropower. And for the storage ammonia also will be deployed soon in Abu Dhabi by Taka Group. They will utilize about 2 gigawatt green hydrogen. But the difference with the Malaysia is they using the RE source from the PV. And this is what happened in our country now. So we are to deploy the hydrogen, but still in the small capacities. We are mixed with the gas-fired power plant in Indonesia. Yeah, but the studies concluded that it is not financially feasible yet. And yeah, due to the isolated location and poor hydrogen infrastructure and many other considerations. This is some issue that can be found when we mix the hydrogen into the gas turbine, like the higher diffusivity, meaning require the certification of sealing material that we cannot using the normal stainless steel material. Also, lower volumetric energy content of hydrogen, meaning it requires larger flow to be handled by the fuel system. Higher reactivity, pushes flame toward burner and increase the risk of explosion or flashback, meaning the control system is much very good. And higher flame temperature and 4.5 times the flame speed can lead to local hotspot, or also we know as hydrogen cracking if imperfectly mixed, and thus increase the NOx emission. And this is the three main key how to decrease the green hydrogen production cost. Number one, electricity cost. So the cheaper the electricity feeding the electrolyzer, so the lower the cost of the hydrogen produced. The electrolyzer, the tools to convert the hydrogen from water. The cheaper the electrolyzer costs, the cheaper hydrogen it can produce. And the capacity factor is related with the lifetime of the usage of the system or the tools itself. And this is the data that's showing that the hydro and the geothermal is considered the low price kilowatt hour per kilowatt hour. And maybe we will approaching using this hydro-based renewable energy. And this is the data for the RE development from 2021 to 2025. So The additional renewable energy until 2025 is predicted up to 10.764 gigawatt. So when the RE capacity is increased, meaning the green hydrogen opportunity to produce also become better. Okay, this is the storage option for hydrogen. Actually many, but this is I try to highlight it. Maybe this is a little bit more technical. As we know that in the gravimetric density, hydrogen is very high, but in terms of the volumetric is very low. Therefore, the hydrogen need to compress at a very high number pressure, like here, 350, 700 bar, or it liquefy. But when it liquefy, it require very, very low temperature, minus 253 degrees Celsius. This is the illustration when we store the volume for 1 kg of hydrogen. Like this is in the atmospheric pressure, this is for in the ammonia, this is in the compressed 700 bar, and this is when the hydrogen, liquefy hydrogen. But in order to liquefy, as I mentioned before in the previous slide also, I shown that in the media like toluene and ammonia. So this we call as the liquid carrier. Meanwhile, this one, the pure hydrogen, it is in the cryogenic condition or liquefied hydrogen. But we are also studying about how to store the hydrogen in the solid storage by using the adsorbent nanoporous material. So based on this problem, therefore we are focusing on the carbon absorption. So this is considered as the new field of hydrogen storage. At applied pressure, hydrogen will bond with porous carbon material such as nanotube or graphene. This is the highlight of our schematic work of the hydrogen storage PC sorption process. So we need to overcome this DOE requirement in order it can be deployed at the real industrial application. We also study about the storage tank, but we are focusing on the type 3 or type 4. This is in order to make the lighter storage tank and also have the highest capacity in the mechanical strength also. So this is the illustration, the type 3 or 4 that we are targeting. And this is some analysis simulation in order to testing how much mechanical strength capacity or how much the pressure can be afford from this storage tank that we are designing. And this is other work, our other work related with the fuel cell development. We developed the carbon sheet electrode for the fuel cell, and we also developed the MEA or single cell, and we also developed the other component that I will show you later. So just in case if you're not so familiar what is fuel cell, is simply for the simple it's like this. It consists of the flat bipolar for guiding the gas like both for hydrogen or oxygen, and also the electrode sheet that I mentioned before, and then the catalyst, and also the electrolyte solid, as usually known as the proton exchange membrane. This is in case for the PEM type of the fuel cell. This is another component of fuel cell that we also developed, the flat bipolar, and this is the also the mechanical stacking study that we also carry out in our group. This is the process how to make the carbon sheet from the biomass waste, which is from the coconut coir or from the EFB. And when we try to apply the renewable energy, battery, fuel cell, or anything in here, as shown in here, we need the materials for sure. And this material become more critical as we consider as the critical mineral or critical material. This is the list of the critical material that I put here in the square red. And yeah, currently FE also considered as the critical material because due to the application of FE as the main source of the battery for the Tesla industry. They using the LFP type of the battery, which is a lithium ferrophosphate. Therefore, it will require the Fe source a very huge number. Okay, in order to balance such the critical material, we try to use the secondary material. We have the cooperation with the Krakatau Steel, so we try to utilize the mill scale, which is byproduct from the steel industry, into some useful, more advanced material. Like here, we are targeting into hematite, and yes, fortunately, we successfully make it into hematite, and hematite itself can be applied to many other application like water splitting, photoanode. This is similar like green hydrogen, but directly from the solar. And then this is as electrode for lithium-ion battery, both for anode or cathode, and also for pigment material, and actually many other applications. And this is the comparison of our result, hematite, and this is from the commercial one. And from here, you can see that it's very similar peak or similar result can achieve. This is the timeline of the battery production in our laboratory, and the hematite itself for this case is applied as cathode. Actually, the hematite also can be applied for the anode. We also working on the steel slag utilization for CCS, or carbon capture storage. This is due to the consideration that the calcium oxide composition from the slag is considered high, and due to this reaction, this is very possible to capturing the CO2. We also carry out the working on the another way of the green hydrogen, but this is we are not using electricity, but this is just using like the hydrolysis process, the splitting water by reacted with aluminum. But the aluminum that we use in here, there are two types. One is the black aluminum dross, which is the byproduct from the aluminum industry, or the scrap, or the scrap material, or the aluminum waste, beverage can, or etc. that contain aluminum higher. And this is the schematic of our work, and this is the reaction that can happen when the aluminum and water is made, and then will produce hydrogen, and also this is also have the byproduct we call as baryte or bohmite. But that material is not waste. This is still can be utilized for further application. Yeah, this is the balloon that filled by the hydrogen gas. The similar work also carried out by the MIT group in US. But for sure, the catalyst utilization or catalyst choice is different with them. And this is when I have visiting from the Bapenas, our national plan against investment into our lab. And this is some action plan activities from our group related with the hydrogen technologies, that we have a partner with the PLN, Pertamina, Krakatau Steel, and many others. And this is some take-home message that you can consider. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Denny. Distinguished guests, with the end of the keynote speaker session today, the opening ceremony of the International Conference Multidisciplinary Engineering Technology ICMETEC 2022 is over today. So any shortcomings that occurred during this ceremony, we apologize 1,000 times. To all participants, once again, I would like to request a photo group sessions. So this time, I hope all the participants can open your camera. So your cooperation was highly appreciated. Give you a big smile. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Okay, once again, thumbs up, please. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's all. Okay, before we proceed to the next slot, I would like to remind all participants to scan the QR code for the attendance. You also may find the attendance link in the chat box. So we will also would like to invite all the participants to visit ICME-Tech 2022 virtual platform through link provided at chat box. Link will be provided at chat box. And gentle reminder, for second day events, we have another 2 keynote speakers with interdisciplinary on topic scientific innovations and problem solving, and monitoring and control system that provide visibility of failure conditions in complex systems. So, all participants are invited to join tomorrow's sessions. So that's all for today. Until we meet again here tomorrow, thank you and we wish you to have a pleasant day.